Well, it's time now for a new episode of Field Forward, brought to you by Pioneer. Joining us now, Pioneer field agronomist in Illinois, Jason McVicker, as we talk about Vorceed, Enlist, corn, and more. Jason, first off, good to have you join us here for this episode. Hope all is well.
Hey, appreciate it, Jesse. Thank you.
Tell us just a little bit about your role as a field agronomist at Pioneer and some of your area of responsibility just to get things started, Jason.
You bet. So I've been in the industry a little over 30 years and spent a good chunk of that in ag retail, and always dreamt of the opportunity of joining the Pioneer team. So I truly am in my dream job, and get the opportunity to work with some top-notch sales reps along the Interstate 80 corridor in Northern Illinois, from about Geneseo over to the Chicagoland area.
Let's talk about how the corn has been looking in your area so far this season. How are things shaping up?
Well, without a doubt, we had our fair share of challenges on some of the early planted stuff, but all in all, once Mother Nature decided to play nice, provide some GDUs, some sunshine, it's amazing what this crop has done. Really has turned the corner, and it is off to the races. We're really, really close. I saw my first tassels emerging on the way here, and we're at that time. So things are picking up at a rapid pace.
Outside of the weather, have there been any other challenges in your area for growers in the early part of this growing season?
Yeah, without a doubt. Over the past probably 3 or 4 years, we've had some challenges with residue management, early stand establishment because of that residue. And, as the equipment gets bigger and bigger, it's tough to get that dispersed. And then you couple that with a drier fall, drier winter. We just didn't have enough water to feed those microbes to help with that breakdown process. And then that was more that guys had to work with or work through in the spring of 25.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about Vorceed Enlist corn. What does Pioneer brand Vorceed Enlist corn offer farmers, Jason?
Well, it's really an exciting time. So I was fortunate that I came on the Pioneer side in 2019, and that was the same year we launched Chrome. And as we take a look at Vorceed Enlist, this brings a totally new level of yield, protection, and flexibility, even more so than what Chrome brought to the table. And when we take a look at the molecular stack to insert those traits into that plant, it unlocked a whole lot of genetic potential that we had to shelve for quite a few years. So that brings that performance or that yield component to the forefront, but it also is bringing us some solid agronomics. So yield, obviously, that's key, but we got additional protection with 3 modes of action to control pests above ground and 3 below ground to control those challenging corn rootworm situations, particularly since we raise a lot of corn on corn. And then the flexibility piece, it brings 4 different modes of chemistry that we can use: glufosinate, glyphosate, your FOPs, and then obviously the Enlist system as well.
What kinds of fields is Pioneer brand Vorceed Enlist corn a good fit for, Jason?
Well, really, as you take a look at the entire lineup, and we're going to continue to ramp up the Vorceed Enlist offering, you can pick your maturity, and there's a Vorceed Enlist product there for you from early to full season. With all the corn that we are raising, CRW is definitely a huge challenge. And a lot of it is targeted towards that corn on corn acre, particularly in those higher pressure areas. And, you think you have a good handle on where those are at, and it seems to move and shift, and just making sure you have a good handle on where those levels are at, and then placing those products on those acres to help manage that.
Yeah, you mentioned corn rootworm, obviously a very tough pest for corn growers to manage. How has Vorceed Enlist performed in your area so far this growing season, Jason?
It's really been outstanding. The genetic platform, there were some that came over from the Chrome lineup, and then there were some that were totally new. Last year, we got a little taste of it. And with the plots that and the experiences that the growers had in Northern Illinois, they definitely appreciated what it brought to the table. The yield was there, and we did a cage study to monitor adult beetle emergence. And it was really impressive what Vorceed Enlist brought to the table. It greatly reduced the amount of adults. And if we reduce the amount of adults, we have less eggs that potentially could hatch and start feeding on our corn roots.
What are some things that growers should be doing right now to maximize their corn yield for this year?
Well, I think, as we take a look at, we're getting into that next phase, that reproductive phase. And especially in our neck of the woods, I think there's all kinds of potential out there. So hopefully we have the insects in check, but I'm seeing a lot of Y dropping going on and things like that, continuing to supply that crop with the proper nutrients. But the next phase is fungicide. And if you have a lot of potential out there, we've done everything to this point right. Let's not let our foot off the gas, and let's try to swing for the fences, because the term that often is used is we got to bushel our way out. And one way to do that is to make sure that we're keeping diseases in check and give that plant the best opportunity to maximize its potential.
Jason, great conversation. If farmers want to learn more and have questions for you and the team there at Pioneer, I know a few ways to get in touch. How can folks learn more?
Well, obviously, I highly encourage you to reach out to your local Pioneer sales representative. They are very knowledgeable on not only the Vorceed Enlist lineup, but they can come up with some really good solutions for you and the way that you farm. And then the other easy way is to get on to pioneer.com, and there's a multitude of resources there where you can learn more about Vorceed Enlist.
Again, you can contact your local representative or go to pioneer.com for more. With that, Jason McVicker, Pioneer Field Agronomist in Northern Illinois. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Field Forward. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jesse.